Up. Got my cheat sheet here.
You can't always go by that Wikipedia. It's blurry sometimes. Anybody can fill it in.
You don't edit your own wiki?
No, I had this one girl I was married to, try to edit it 3 times, and somebody changed it back and reported her.
No.
I said, I know my life better than
No shit.
Yeah. Such bullshit Wikipedia.
Very cool. Well, today I'm sitting here with WWE, WWF legend, Gangrel.
Banging and banging, and I'm glad to be here.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you joining me, brother.
Yeah. No,
it means a lot to me. My channel's all about interviewing 80s and 90s wrestling legends and up-and-coming wrestling stars. You were a big part of my childhood, and it's a big honor to sit with you today.
Well, thank you for letting me be a big part of your childhood, or honor me to be part of your childhood.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Also, my channel's also about encouraging and inspiring others while we tell a great story along the way, and I think you've got a great story to tell.
Well, we'll see.
Cool. We'd like to cover a little like autobiography style and kind of learn about you, how your early beginnings, kind of where you grew up, and you know what got you interested in wrestling at a young age, Gangrel.
Well, I was always watching it on Florida Championship Wrestling on TV, and then I remember my great grandfather, my Uncle Walter in Chattanooga, Tennessee, took me to a live pro wrestling match one time, and then when we went there, they had the little fellas, which you could call midgets then, but the little people or whatever.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it was just a magical night, and ever since that point on, I was like, oh, you know, I want to be a wrestler, you know. But I had dreams of playing football and being a preacher at the same time.
Okay.
Then I broke my neck. Some things went different directions, so a lot of that went off the table. And then at 17, I found my way into the life of pro wrestling.
Now tell me about that first match, that early on where you get your experience in the ring, maybe your first paid match, 20 bucks, 100 bucks.
Like,
tell me about that moment.
So many matches ago, so many moments ago. I was trained by Boris Malenko and a fellow named Rusty Brooks. I'm trying to imagine. I remember my first TV match was Dr. Red Roberts. My first match wasn't TV. It was a guy called Bart Vale who went on to UWF fame, you know, for the shoot fighting and whatnot.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's always been a rush. I think I get the same amount of nerves now as I did then. It's always the same. I'll use the restroom 3-4 times. Music's playing. I gotta go. I'm changing. No, I'm constantly. I'm the same amount. I get the same amount of nerves now as I did 32 years ago or 31 years ago.
So it's like an adrenaline rush.
Yeah, it's a rush, but I also have a million thoughts going through my head, like, oh, am I gonna mess this up? Am I gonna do this? Or the people, you know, everything. It's just, it is a giant rush. There's no high like it. You know, there's no high and there's no low like pro wrestling too.
Yeah.
You know, it's highs and lows, valleys.
You can't have the highs without lows, can you, in life?
No, it's a roller coaster.
Man.
What goes up must come down.
Yeah. Now you mentioned that you were a football player and you broke your neck.
Yeah, that's the first time I broke my neck.
What age was that?
13.
13.
Pop Warner football, yeah. Championship game.
Damn.
Broke my neck, and it told me I wouldn't be able to do any more physical sports anymore.
Yep.
Which led to a lot of problems. You know, I wanted to be a preacher at that time too, and then I got bitter with God. I took a different route. My little brother passed away. So life took a really different turn, and I got into running with the wrong kids. I grew up in a very, very rough neighborhood. Like it was, you know, bad neighborhood. And so I went another route, and I didn't think I was going to end up getting out of there. And then I found pro wrestling by accident. I was looking for a better job in the newspaper. I'd already quit school. I'd already had a baby on the way. I said, make money on the weekends, but you know, I can do that. So
Taylor, will you turn that TV off?
So looking through that paper, I went and showed up, and it was Boris Malenko. He gave me a tour of the Global Wrestling
What age was that?
I was 17.
17.
17.
Okay.
And then from there on, I sized everybody up because I didn't quite know, you know, the secrets of the art of pro wrestling. I see the guy with a black eye. I see the guy bigger than me. I'm going, oh, I think I could take that guy. And then, sure enough, I went down there, put my money down, joined the school. And I think it was 3 weeks later, one of the trainers, Rusty Brooks, came up to me and he goes, I gotta ask you a question. And he goes, do you think this is, and I go, what? And then I went, oh, I was so upset because I go, oh man, wait a minute, you tell me who wins and loses, I ain't gonna get paid. And I wanted to quit wrestling. At that moment, it was one of those moments right there. So I owe a lot to him because I was gonna walk away. And he goes, look, he says, you got something special. He says, just stay here. We'll write you up from the books as a trainer. Okay. You don't got to pay, and you have something. And like 3 months later, I was doing jobs on TV for WWE, WWF at the time.
That quick?
Yeah, quick.
What age?
18. I was 18.
So how did you
17 I started, then I turned 18.
Nobody has done that I've ever talked to.
No.
They're always like, you got to put in for a decade.
Well, not to get beat up back then. Back then, you used to go out there and stand like a lamb and wait for the Road Warriors. So that's why I did that in Georgia Championship when they were in Georgia Championship Wrestling. I was probably 18, not even 18. You know, you get no music, you're standing in the ring for 15 minutes, people are heckling you, throwing like, you're gonna get murdered, you bum. You know, and then you hear, wow, you're like, oh, here we go. You know, you didn't have to have a lot of skill then. You just could, you know, have some form. You didn't have to have a whole lot of skill. But that's how you learn. And then from there, I went to Stampede, so I trained with the Hearts in the dungeon. So I trained there. So I worked.
And where was that? Was that up in Montreal?
Calgary, Alberta. Calgary, Alberta. The Hearts, And then from the Hearts, then I went to All Japan. So I started working in All Japan. Came home. I was working locally, like Tri-State Wrestling Alliance, Show Goodheart. That was like pre-ECW stuff. And Todd Gordon. And from there, I had a falling out with my partner. I was doing a lot of tags, and then I went down to Puerto Rico, redeveloped myself as a vampire warrior. That was in 91. 91 or 91, I believe. I went down and became the vampire warrior, Gangrel. Not Gangrel, but the vampire warrior. And then 98 or whatever it was with WWE, I became Gangrel.
So 91, what age was that?
Oh gosh, I don't know. Early 20s, really early 20s.
And who was your inspiration for that vampire warrior? You'd mentioned that you were angry at God earlier in your life. Is that,
but not for the vampire
Does that inspire that look?
No, it really came from a bologna blowout. Do you know what a bologna blowout is?
No.
Okay, it's when you have nothing else to do on a Sunday afternoon. You go get all this junk food that you wouldn't normally eat, all these cheap meats, sausage, and all that, salami, cheeses. Get it all out there, and you put a movie in. And I was with Luna. You know, I was with her for 18 years. We were married for a while, and we were having a bologna blowout. We were watching the movie The Lost Boys. And then I go, oh, that'd be really cool to be a vampire in wrestling. And she goes, you should do it. You should do it. I go, oh no, I couldn't do that in wrestling because wrestling, wasn't like that.
No.
You know, you should do it. You should do it.
I can't think of any other vampire characters.
So it stemmed from that, and then that's how it slowly snowballed. Jerry Lawler liked it. I ended up doing it in Memphis in '93, and just kept doing it and doing Japan tours and under the Black Heart mask as a tag, doing the vampire thing, working multiple back and forth tours, and then eventually '98 landed in WWE as Gangrel.
Now, how did you get the call up to WWE? Now, let's talk about New Japan briefly. It seemed like All Japan.
All Japan.
Now, Japan loves American wrestlers. They love wrestling in general. It seems that they've taken all of our American talent at one time or another. How did you get involved with All Japan?
Well, the very first time I was in Calgary Stampede, and that's when Tokyo Joe was booking for New Japan, but he really liked the gimmick, so he passed it on to a fellow named Jimmy Suzuki, and Luna also knew Jimmy Suzuki, so both of them politicked for them to get a look at us. Miss Baba liked us, brought us in. We didn't belong there. We had no earthly business being there. We had some cool moves. We didn't know what to do with them. We had a really good look. But I was it, So granted, it wasn't an easy ride with the older wrestlers who have done 20 years and 25 years to put their time in to get the spot. Here we go, waltzing right in, the top pay, and a really good spot. And but I was only there 2 tours. My partner, me and him had fallen out. He went back with another one, and they only lasted once. So then I went to all the small companies. But in 1998, I ended up going back to All Japan, abs, all grown up. And they all joked when I got there, Misawa and Kawada, oh, no more fat boy, all grown up, whoa. And when I was on that tour, Bob offered me a year contract, but WWE called at the same time and said, we have a contract waiting for you at home. So like when it rains, it pours kind of thing. So obviously the WWE was probably Luna, I wanted to go All Japan. Luna urged me to go WWE because she was in WWF at the time. So she was like, no, we'll be together on the road, blah, blah, blah. Me, I said, no, I finally got back to the company, I started at, I want to prove something, but here I am, how many years later?
About 20. Tell me about that call up to WWF, WWE, and that phone call with Vince. Tell me how that went.
Well, I didn't talk to Vince or anything. It was actually Johnny Ace, who was on the tour bus, was the one liaison it, because he was just getting ready to go to WWF. He was leaving All Japan, so I went through him, and then I think I dealt with Bruce Pritchard once I got there, right?
Okay.
So
yeah.
Bruce, I never really talked about Vince or anything. They didn't want the vampire thing, and then when they did hire me, they told me I was going to sit home, possibly a year. They weren't going to do nothing. But then Vince Russo, I think he got like creative control for like a month or something, or whatever. He called me up on a Friday afternoon. Can you be at TV on Sunday? We want to do a vampire thing. Can you still do the vampire? I said, of course. And then I grabbed a bunch of stuff and got it together, and that's what you saw.
And that was what, Monday Night Raw or
Sunday Night Heat.
Sunday Night Heat.
Sunday Night Heat.
So that's kind of the first time that we get to see you WWF as a vampire.
As Gangrel, the vampire.
Gangrel.
Yeah, and a vampire. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that had to be pretty awesome.
It was amazing.
Tell me about some of your first early matches that stand out to you with WWF.
With WWF, I mean, obviously the first debut one was Scotty Taylor, who's a dear friend of mine, and that match went all kinds of sideways on my fault. I went out there, I had boots on that weren't wrestling boots yet, because I put the gear together literally on a Friday night and caught a Saturday flight up there. So everything was like out of Hot Topics in the mall. Everything thrown together. So I was struggling with that, nerves. Actually got my foot caught in the elevator in the fire, so it was crushed. That's why everybody goes, where'd you get that cool walk from? Because my foot was crushed.
From a broken ankle,
My foot was black for 3 months.
Oh, damn.
So it was a hobble. So Scotty, he took care of me, and he made me look good, even though I messed everything up and with a strong win. But the matches would stand out, I guess, with Edge. He was such an amazing talent, and he was new there and young, and I was there, and my job was to make sure he blended in and worked well there and stuff. So I was honored to have that like journeyman position, and but those stick with me. The Brood and the Hardys. It was good times.
That's what I remember. The Brood, when you were in the Brood, and that group
against the Hardys, and those were fun matches, super fun matches.
What would you do to prepare for those matches?
Me? Listen to a little Rage Against the Machine. I would just listen to music. Those guys would be like, I go, and okay, me, because they were like machines. They were machines. If you asked me to remember 30 things like that, I couldn't do that. I can't even remember one. I can't even remember my name. Surprised I didn't call myself Gargamel.
No, I wouldn't expect that. And then you had quite a run in the WWF. With the Brood, that's how I remember you, with that group, and, tuning in Monday night, tuning in on the weekends, and, there you are, giving that face, giving that energy. And there was nobody like you, you know what I mean? That's what made you stand out.
Well, Luna always taught me, said, if you're ugly, be the ugliest. If you're mean, be the meanest. If you're prettiest, be the prettiest. Whatever, take a weakness and make it your strength, and if whatever, just ride it out.
Did you and Luna train? Did you guys train together too?
Off and on. I didn't like that woman when I first met her. I didn't want to train with her. I was scared of her. She was a bad woman. Then I fell madly in love with her as we were friends for a couple years, and then we got together.
Tell me how that happened. Tell me that the day that you knew that, man, I want to marry this woman. I want to, we fit together.
Well, I couldn't tell you what year, but it was the date, June 18th. It was a June 18th that I told her that I want to spend the rest of my life with you. But I hated her at first. I couldn't stand her. Like they say, hey, let's go pick Luna up the train. I go, oh, no, that girl's crazy. She's gonna be half drunk because she's a Tasmanian devil, And I would avoid her every time I'd see her. She'd pull my shirt off or punch me, and go, why do you don't like me, or whatever. And it's like a year of that crap. But slowly we were just alike, and then we became like best friends, and then we were friends for like a year, and then people started accusing us of being together when we weren't. Like we were just thick and thin. If they would have known everybody, she set me up. She set me up with the whole locker. I was like,
she's trying to keep you off her back, keep you tied up. One day,
it was something happened or whatever, and we just said, why not? And we've been together like 18 years.
Did you guys have a celebrity wedding or private wedding? How'd you
We had a wedding at our apartment on Halloween. It was Halloween. I believe it was in '94, I think. So that could have been 93. No, it was '94, probably '94.
And that was kind of one of the peaks of your run in WWF. So you were hot as fire.
Yeah, she was. I was coming out of Memphis at the time.
Oh, were you?
SWA, 93, 94, doing Japan stuff. Okay. She was on TV a lot in WWE then. Or WWF.
And then I have, I'm showing here WWF 93 to 95. And then I see Extreme Championship Wrestling 95. World Championship Wrestling 98.
Yeah, I worked a little bit everywhere. I was always popping in and out. You know, a cup of coffee here, a cup of tea there.
Yeah, right.
But I was always working, or in Japan or something. I mean, I was always blessed. Pretty much since 17, this has been my job. Like, I've been able to make money and do this for a living. So I'm so blessed to be able to do that. And now I have a wrestling school, Gangrels Wrestling Asylum, down in South Florida. So I'm there Monday through Thursdays training, and then I'm still on the road Friday, Saturday, Sundays doing what I love. So 7 days a week, I'm still in a wrestling ring doing what I love.
So you're in South Florida training folks. Tell me a typical week of that. What's if I come in and say, Gangrel, I want to be trained up, what do you need to tell me? Hit the weights and start hitting the mat? What do I need to do?
It's hard to tell you to hit the weights now with all these 205s and stuff like that. Well, first I'll ask you, are you doing it for a hobby, or are you doing it for a career? You know, and then you'll tell me whichever way, but I'll tell you that there's 2 other wrestling schools, right? I'll try to send you to another wrestling school, because I only want you to be there if you're going to be serious. Because if the other guys are training for a career and you're training for a hobby, I don't want you to come take away from them, because it's a 3-hour class. They work 2 hours and 50 minutes of that class. You know, they're doing something. I have a 16-foot rolling area, a 16-foot ring, and an 18-foot ring, and all 3 areas for 3 hours are busy working, and everybody's working. So you got to have passion for it. So I try to prevent you from signing up. You know,
so it's
and then you come in there, and first you'll start. You know, you'll take the tour. You'll get the speech, then you'll get the hygiene speech, you know, all the yada yada, all the ins and outs about being clean for wrestling, and then you'll start with rolls for maybe a month on the maybe more, depending upon how you get them. You'll stay on the pads, rolls, footwork, which way to turn, rolls. Then I'll bring you the 16-foot ring, and then you'll learn how to bump, you know, take falls, and then improve on your rolls, you know. More from, you know, get into, you know, bigger rolls and whatnot on a harder surface. Then start putting moves together. You know, you'll learn to tie up. You'll learn, you know, the headlock, the wing lock, the top wrist lock, the double wrist lock, you know, the Mexican hand and knee, all your little moves. You put all these moves together, and then you'll spend 3 months doing that or so. Then, when you can do a 15-minute match in the center of the ring without breaking and going to the ropes and tell a story, then I move you to the 18-foot ring, and then we add ropes. Then we add a rope running and different things. And so it's a very, and when people come in, I tell them it's a slower process. It's not 3 months and done here. You want to be, you know, if you want to go somewhere, give me a year. You give me 2-3 extra months, I'll save you 2 months, or 6 years in your life, I'll save you 6 years. I always say, you give me a few extra months, I'll save you 6 years of heartache, you know, because it's the footwork. It comes down to footwork, timing, knowing your place around there. They go, well, how do you still do it? Oh, you're over 50 years old. How are you still moving so fast? I go, I'm not moving fast. I'm just in the right place at the right time. You know, you just don't notice that I'm just in the right spot at the right time.
When would I get to learn how to suplex and pile drive people?
Well, that's well after the ropes in the 18-footer. If you know, I mean, you'll learn it. You'll learn it for safety. It's not something I'll say you have to do all the time. I prefer it to. I'm character driven and about moments, but you'll definitely learn, you know, everything or anything that I could possibly think of, or any other advanced person would come in there. You'll learn it just so you know it and you're capable to do it. But when you do all that, no, you're going to find out who you are. You're going to develop a character, and your character is going to have moments that lead to things, that'll lead to whatever. You may only have 3 moves, but you might not only need more than 3. You need to know how to do everybody else's moves. You know where to put them and why to take them and when to take them. But, you know, it comes down to moments and then just building to that end. And the last thing I remember is the finish when you see and you go home.
And a lot of people say it's wrestling to make it good is about telling a story as well. And then the art of cutting a promo.
Well, it's telling a story, but what is your story? I mean, who are you and who am I? Like, it's not necessarily good versus evil anymore. It's like, you're a big bad monster, I'm a big bad monster. Well, how do I make you look like a big bad monster without burying my big bad monster, and then get to where we need, where the promoter and everybody else wants? So there's so much more into it. It's not just that good guy, bad guy, cowboys and Indians, which makes sense and works too. But there's characters involved, different things. So you don't always have to do it traditional ways. You know, you don't always have to start off like, oh, the good guy has to get all this stuff, and then the bad guy cuts him off. It could go a million different ways depending upon your characters and how you want to get that character over, and what they want at the end of the night, who you're working for, or in a long-term program.
Gotcha. So I'm training with you. You're training me up. I'm learning to tell my story, my promo. I went from the 13-foot ring with no ropes. Now I finally made it to the 18-foot ring.
16 to 18. Yep.
What do I do after that? How do I get my foot into the door? Do I start? Do I just pour myself
18,
up?
It's the same. Now you're in the 18. You got to learn how to run the ropes, how to use the ropes. The ring is a tool, and it's a very important tool. It's very dangerous, and you can get hurt very quick with it. I've seen ropes break necks, breaks noses. You know, a rope, a cable rope, a steel rope, even the hemp ropes in WWE will hurt you. You know, so you just spend a lot of time in there, but in the process, now you're starting to develop characters because you're learning a little bit more movement and moves, and each day you're still always working on promos in between all this, so you're slowly figuring out who you are and your character.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you might have flew a little prop plane here and there once, somebody let you take the controls, but that doesn't mean you're a certified pilot, right?
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? You don't become a commercial airline pilot without flying multiple amounts of hours, so you start logging hours of ring time and matches and ring times and matches, and you don't go and sit over to the side and oh, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do this. No, you go in there and you organically work to points, to moments, and you get to those moments, and those moments lead to the bigger things, you know. So you learn to get a feel of everything. So you're not, it's just not an overnight like deal. Some people are natural, some people are really good at get it naturally, but you still have to log time after time. So now you get to a certain degree with me, then I go, okay, all right, I have shows, so I start putting you on my shows, and then, but I realize I have to bring outsiders in besides the school and myself. I can't have many clones of me. I can't. They got to have other thinking. So I'll try to bring other guys that are like completely opposite in, and then do seminars and have them, you know, pick their minds and work with them, work against them on shows when they've gotten to that level, so they can learn from them. And when I see they're not struggling there, then I'll start finding outside bookings for them. Like, go out here, you got to go learn. You got to learn the good, the bad, and the ugly. That's your only way. You don't learn just being good. You don't learn just being bad. You got to learn the good, the bad, the ugly. How to handle yourself, locker room etiquette, everything out there. So if I can, I try to make those shows where I can watch them. I won't go in there and go, hey, I won't cut them off. Let them make the mistakes, learn from them, come back, talk later. Yep. But it's very hard when I'm still working every Friday, Saturday, Sunday, because even though the school looks very successful online and everything, everything I make goes right back into school. So I have to stay on the road on the weekends because I'm trying to build a long-term, not short-term. So looking for long-term success in the community of Dania Beach, and the city has been amazing supporting us and stuff and helping guide us through things. So I'm expecting the next, this year 2, I expect year 3 to be, you know, the breakthrough year and really good things to come from out of South Florida. And as my wrestlers come of age, thing is they're too young for WWE right now. Okay. So I have 17-year-old twin girls. I have an 18-year-old girl that is superly amazing, but unfortunately she has epilepsy. But hardest worker in the school, an incredible talent. Hardest worker. I have twin boys that are 17. I have a few guys that just started recently that have the size and they're old enough to go, but now they're behind on the rings, you know, the time. So I can't just go. I don't want to push them out there and set them up for failure. Even though I believe with their foundations and what they got now, they can sign. But I'm pretty, in the next 3 years, 4 years, you're gonna see a lot of talent, I think, come out of South Florida because I guess I'm bragging, but I'm very proud. But I know there's some really good talent in the next 4 to 5 years that's gonna come out of South Florida.
Now, if I want to get in touch with your school, is there a website that I need to visit? Is there a, how do I do that?
Yeah, well, the school, you can find it GWA Florida or Gangrels Wrestling Asylum, like the shirt, Gangrels Wrestling Asylum, or GWA Florida. We have a website. Go on there, like it, follow it, check it out. You'll see all our the page is in the process. We got somebody building a new web page. I know we're a little obsolete. We're very dinosaur, but look at me. I mean, I don't even know how to turn a computer on. You're lucky I even figured out how to put this mic on.
Right, me too.
But yeah, GWA Florida, Gangrels Wrestling Asylum, or you can find my own page, Gangrel David Heath, or Gangrel13 on Instagram. But you'll see all the shows, and you'll see the footage and the clips from our shows. I don't show a lot of things from the school itself, because I believe you should go to the school and learn, you know, why, but there is highlights from all the shows and stuff like that, so I didn't get there, so.
Let me get you to share a couple of your memories in WWF. a lot of our folks are watching at home, and they got 1,000 questions they want me to ask you, and I can only ask a handful. What was your most memorable match in the WWE that really left an impression on you, or you're the most proud of?
The most proud of? Man, I don't know. Like I looked at every match as a lesson, and I didn't pass a lot of those lessons. I really hit some plateaus and made a lot of mistakes, and then the amount of injuries I had, I couldn't overcompensate and come back and redeem myself from some of those mistakes. It's easier for me to remember some of the matches that went wrong, that stick out to me. Like there was one in particular in Kentucky with The Rock. I went in and I changed my whole style. I laid back, I was polite, I didn't bring it like I always bring it. I have no idea why. And that match there was a live Raw, and it dropped me back to a shotgun Saturday night. So I'm more geared to remember the bad moments, because any moment I get in a wrestling ring's a great moment. They're all good. Any time I came up to that ring of fire, that was awesome. So it was hard for me to say like, oh, I had all these matches. I mean, I could say me and Edge and myself working Monday Night Raws were great matches. They were. I could say there was a SmackDown from Orlando with Mart Hardy, because it was a singles, and I never got to work him in the singles, and I love doing battle with Matt because it's like gladiator battle. We both leave with like black eyes. It's like we're both very physical. You got a Carolina boy and a South Florida boy, and we like to throw hands, so we're throwing hands. Always loved when I mixed it up with Scorpio. Another guy that just likes to throw hands, wasn't scared to throw hands. So, because I'm more of I love Japan and the time in Puerto Rico, so I lean towards a snugger, more, I don't want to say stronger style, but like a bit more in there style, So I appreciate doing battle, I like it physical.
What do you think matched you up with Edge so well, because you guys had some of the best matches together?
I think we're both humble, and we both understood the end game. I knew that he was the man. I was told that's their future, but he was humble and didn't look at it like that. And he's just a great human being, so like I would do anything for him, and I've never been prouder for anybody than I have in my life. That dude, I am so happy and so proud for. And even though he doesn't wrestle anymore, he's still productive with wrestling, with his podcast, but the love he has for his family, and he's found love and peace, and he's doing movies, and he's doing good. I'm so happy for him. Yeah,
man, that's a good feeling when you see people you like do well.
Other proud moments, though, and I'll boast on this a little bit. And a lot of people don't know this. Is I trained Rusev.
Really?
Yeah. So that's a very proud moment. Every time he hits the ring, it's a proud moment. So that's very proud. I trained Rusev. Vanessa Bourne in NXT. I trained. Yeah. So
what was your training like for Rusev?
Oh, he had an old school hard style. I've had to learn how to evolve with today's society and training. When he got it the hard way, he hit me in the eye. I punched him back and gave him a black eye. He goes, "Why'd you do that?" Because I hit you. I go, "Yes." He got more of the 100 and 500 and 1,000 squats in him. He got a really old school style training. But he could take it. He responded well to it. As life comes over, I've had to evolve and learn to teach, because there's things I do naturally that I didn't know how to teach. Now I've stopped back to these years when I moved to back to Florida, and school totally by myself. When I trained him, it was in school with Rikishi out in LA, Knoxboro. So now that I'm by myself and slowly doing everything, and everything falls on my shoulders, I had to reevaluate how I teach, and like the things I do naturally, I would just say, "Hey, can you do that?" But I had to learn how I do that. I had to relearn and educate myself to be able to teach it, and I found to be so much successful now, so much at peace, and even love teaching more now than I even do wrestling. I absolutely love teaching. Every time there's a student that walks through the door, it's me being reborn again. I'm like, there's my opportunity to be reborn every time a student comes through.
Do you live vicariously through that student?
Yes, of course. 100%. 100%. I steal their. I'm an energy vampire. I'm just a vampire, but an energy vampire. I steal their energy and their thunder. Yes.
Have you had any of your students where they're like, "I want to do the vampire gimmick too"?
No.
They find their own voice.
I think they've seen Kevin Thorne, who I love dearly, and other things, and other people do similar stuff that it really just doesn't pan out. It was one of those weird characters. I think WWE just hit at the right time, and it was the right, one of those, you know, perfect storm type of things. The entrance, the music, maybe the bug eyes I have with the crazy hair, you know, looking like I'm gonna die every minute in the ring. You know? I think it just was a perfect storm, and it's really hard. You either liked it or you hated it. You loved it or you hated it. There's no in between. It was like, you know, Gangrel. Or, oh, I love that guy. You know, so, but it was a perfect storm. It's hard to imitate. How did they pick who they were going to team you with? How did they create the Brood? Well, they just needed a way. They figured out how to bring Edge in, so we started feuding with him. But it was to bring him in through a feud with me, and you know, because he's kind of gothic-looking kind of guy, and then. But I kept pitching the whole, because of the Lost Boys, you know, I still hung up on the Lost Boys. Vampires can be cool, man. They don't have to win. We can lose every night as long as we look cool doing it. Give me a couple of young dudes, give me Edge or somebody, and we'll go out with jackets and chains that jingle, you know, we'll rock star. We can lose every night. I promise you, people will not care. They will cheer you. They're like, no, we don't get the idea. But eventually, Bruce Pritchard, Tom Pritchard, and Russo are like, we're kind of digging what you're saying. We see it, and then they did the Brood thing, and then just like, boom. Then they had to stop it because it got out of hand. You know, it got too big. Who gave you that initial push? Well, the initial push had to have been cleared by, it had been Vince Russo, right? Okay. You guys keep in touch today at all? No. Edge, yes, and Christian, yes. Not a lot. I mean, Edge, a holiday here and there. Every once in a while, if I see something really cool, I'll say I'm proud of you, you know, stuff like that. But not like we should. I'm very bad at keeping in touch with people. I'm so busy, and I get sucked up in my own world. And like every weekend is like a family reunion. Somewhere like I'll see people like here, like, hey, you know, I just seen Mika Taylor, and you know, there's so many different people here at Rock and Roll. Like, so great to see them. Animal. So it's like a family reunion every weekend. Hey. And they're paying you because I don't talk to everybody like I should. So it's like a typical family members to me. I don't see. Did you work with Road Warriors, Animal? Not in WWF, but in Georgia Championship Wrestling. Tell me a little bit about that, because that's when I felt like a lamb going, you didn't mention that. They send you out in, what was it, like the, Stone Mountain or whatever, Georgia, and then Marietta County Civic Center and stuff like that. I remember we do TV in a little, on Peachtree Street, but then on Techwood Drive or whatever it was, and then they say, hey, do you want to stay on the loop? And they send you to like Stone Mountain or Marietta, and I go, yeah, and they go, okay, then you draw the Road Warriors. You're like, oh crap. And they really talk to you back there. They're just really big guys. So, you know, I was like 18 or something. So you know, they send you out like 10 minutes early. You know, like, what's going on? I guess it was commercials or something. People are heckling you, and you just go, oh, and then the Iron Man music would start. You go, oh, and they come out. They just look like now. You're like, oh hey, but when you're a kid breaking in, these guys are monsters. You know, all the wrestlers are monsters. But these particular guys are monsters they killed. You know. What about some of the other guys that we're seeing today? Have you ever, I guess Bob Orton was before your time. No, Tony, but I would see him though. It was good to see him again. I've seen him around, because I did UWF stuff. Okay. When he was doing UWF stuff at the end of his time, like Tito Santana, different people. What about Tito? I got an interview lined up with him next month. Yeah, no, I love Tito, great guy. I never worked him, but I was around him a lot. Okay. I'll always tell him hello, go across him, very respectful. Yeah, man. Everybody's got great things to say about Tito. Trying to find somebody that might not have a great thing to say, or a great story to tell about Tito. What about some other guys in the early 80s who were like King Kong Bundy? Were they all done by the time you got in? No, I was around King Kong. I'd be on, especially did a lot of independent shows with him when I was breaking in, when he was doing stuff in the Northeast. That man treated me like awesome, amazing. He was so good to me. Like, I was so sad when he passed away. Me too, I cried. My sweetheart just got here.
Hey, much more time. I gotta get this thing rolling. I got 8 minutes and I start getting guys back here.
I think we'll go ahead and wrap up. Can you give me about 2-3 more minutes, and then we'll just do the wrap-up speech, and you can have your lunch. Okay, cool. Dan, well, you're getting ready to go on, so you know this has been pretty stoked, and it's a great use of time. The channel is about encouraging and inspiring people. I've had my good days, I've had my bad days. You got a message for folks out there that are maybe need a little bit of encouragement or wondering how you did it and how they're not doing it? What, you got a message for anybody?
I like to tell you is stay positive, be positive, because negative breeds negative, positive breeds positive. I don't take it day by day. I don't take it hour by hour. I take it breath by breath, minute by minute at a time. I try to stay positive each of those minutes. I had a meltdown earlier today, and I can't believe it because I usually don't have a meltdown. But I'm going to turn around and be extra positive, you know, because positive breeds positive. If you start getting negative and bringing dark stuff upon you, and the next thing you know, it clouds you like a cancer. Rust never sleeps, cancer never sleeps, negativity never sleeps. So stay positive, stay ahead of the fight, and keep moving, and it'll never catch you.
I love that.
This is Gangrel, and you're fanging and banging with Andrew's interviews.